Hi, I'm Oliver, aged 24, and today I'm trying something a little bit different with a new series called Let's Draw. And in this, I'm just going to be drawing unedited for about half an hour each time. And this way, it'll be more natural and you'll get a better look at how a professional artist draws when editing cannot happen, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be drawing all of the Pokemon, well, as many as I can in half an hour. And if you've noticed, in the corner of the screen here is a colour palette. And the reason I'm going to be using a colour palette is so that all the Pokemon, once they've been drawn, kind of look pretty good together. So there's your first piece of art lessonary. Use a colour palette, and I actually stole this one from a pixel artist. I basically typed into Google professional art palette, and this is one of the first ones that came up. So there you go. So the first Pokemon is Bulbasaur, and I'm not sure whether Bulbasaur is a dog or a cat or some sort of wombat type of creature, but basically it's a combination of all of them, I guess. I'm starting with the head. It's a pretty good way to start, really. I use that on humans as well, if you've seen my other drawing tutorials. You want to do one eye bigger than the other one slightly squashed. It works with pretty much everything, really. Humans, Pokemons, animals. You could probably even use it on things that aren't even alive. Like if you were drawing a house and you wanted to give it a bit more character, just stick some eyes and a mouth on it. There we go. There is Bulbasaur's head. And then, like I said, we're just going to use this colour palette. So we want to choose the closest colours we can to the Bulbasaur, but obviously using the 3D colours that I've got here. So I've used a nice 3D sky blue for Bulbasaur's skin, and I'm going to take a darker colour for the inside the head look, inside his mouth. Now that's probably the wrong shade of Bulbasaur, because he's sort of a bluey green colour, but there we go. That looks more like it. More like what I had in mind anyway. So let's carry on with his body. Now, his body is attached to his head, believe it or not. And basically, he's a bit like a dog, as previously mentioned. So I'm just going to draw using the dogging technique, which I think I first used in my Doge tutorial, which is one of my favourite memes of the internet. So I've just done the back-legging technique there to give a sort of a sense of depth to the Bulbasaur that the original drawing is actually lacking. But what can you do, really? So now we can colour that in using the same colours that we used previously. And the back legs are actually the same colour as the inside of Bulbasaur's mouth and head. So just going to take that colour and reuse it, in fact. Next we're going to draw some nails, because Bulbasaur has pretty sharp claws. I'm just going to use the clawing technique, believe it or not. Although you should probably believe it, because why would I lie to you? There we go. There's some claws on the Bulbasaur. Just going to add some on this foot as well. There we go. And you can't see the last claw there because it's behind the leg. Handy. Means one less thing to draw. Now I'm going to take this nail-ish 3D colour to use for the nails. There we go. That looks nice. Nice. There we go. There. Oops. That always happens. I usually edit it out of the tutorial videos, but what can you do? This one is live and uncut. sort of the uncensored drawing world that you don't usually see. So there's going to be a lot more ums, ahs, pauses, and probably coughs, because obviously you don't want coughs in your edited videos. Next we're going to draw some lumps or spots onto the Bulbasaur, because he has these weird patches on his skin that are not blue, but sort of a 3D green colour. There we go. Probably some on his back as well even. There's a nice one. And there's one too. Probably a couple on his back leg as well. There. And we'll give him one on his booty as well, just to emphasize the sexual nature of Pokemon that most people miss. But if you've played the games, you'll know about the sexual undertone. Anyway, less of that and more of the drawing. So we're going to add some green patches. So we're just going to use a 3D green to recolor. Why can't I color that one in? Or that one even? That's a true mystery. Something's gone wrong there. Ah, it's because these are on another layer. That was a mistake. So let's just go back to the original layer. See, in a tutorial, this will be all edited out, but I'm not trying to teach you. I'm just trying to draw casually, as you do. So I'm going to take a darker 3D green for the back legs. There we go. Look at that sort of depth that we're achieving just from a few simple 3D colours. Okay, now we're going to draw the bulb on the Bulbasaur, which is obviously quite important because it's in his name. So for that, I find it's easiest just to draw a bulb shape because it literally is a bulb. So there we go. And that's sort of the Bart Simpson technique on the top there. I should probably teach people how to draw Bart Simpson at some stage. I've never done the Simpsons. Could draw Homer Simpson too. Which Simpson would be your favourite? Leave a comment. Let's take this bulb and raise it up a little bit because I felt like it was a little too low on the Bulbasaur's back and butt. So now we can colour that in using a 3D bulb green colour. Boom. Nailed it. That's one Pokemon done. And we're only like 8 minutes into the video. So we're on a roll, basically. Let's just move him over to the side. And now we can start on Pokemon number 2. Which, if my Pokedex is correct, is Ivysaur. Which looks quite similar to Bulbasaur, but a bit bigger. So we're just going to use the same techniques again, basically. We want to make his ears a bit sort of downier, and then his head is a bit wider, and that ear's a bit sort of more down as well. And then his head is quite a similar shape, if I remember correctly. So there we go. There's Ivysaur's head. And then we're just going to draw the same mouth, like that, for the teeth, and then some eyes on the Ivysaur. Now, I've made those a little bit more slanted because Ivysaur is quite an angry Pokemon. Don't know if you've ever met one in real life. I haven't. But if you have, then let me know in the comments. Are they more aggressive? Are they not more aggressive? It's a mystery. And obviously they've got slightly fatter legs than Bulbasaur. So you want to reflect that in your drawing. There we go. That is looking fantastic. And another thing that we need to add is on Ivysaur, you can actually see the inside of his ears. So I'm just going to draw some 3D triangles within his ears, and we'll colour those in as well. So I'm just going to take the same Bulbasaur skin colour, because Ivysaur has the same colour skin. And then same thing with the inside the head look. And then I'm just going to colour the teeth white. Now, it might look like that's completely unnecessary, but if I change the background colour, shoom, you see that the eyes and the ears have no colour. So you want to fix that by adding 3D white. I'll just change the background colour back. Boom, there we go. So the ears are actually this green, but a bit darker, maybe? Yes, they're a bit darker. So let's take this green and use that to show that they are darker. And let's add the back legs as well. So there's the back legging technique again, a classic on this channel. And we're going to add the claws. I like to do 3 claws per foot, because that is how many Ivysaur has. And I like to be scientifically accurate with my drawings, because I am a scientist. Most people don't know that, but I've been working full-time as a Pokémon scientist for the last 12 years. Just FYI. Now I'm going to take a 3D nail colour again and just finish off the nails. So, just undo that. That's the best thing about drawing live, is that you can just undo things and nobody judges you. So don't judge is basically what I'm saying there. Now I'm going to add some patches onto the Ivysaur. Now he actually has a more sort of triangular one on his head, which is a bit more pointy than Bulbasaur's splodges. But what can you do? I'm just going to add the rest of them to his body. So let's just splodge that up a bit. There we go. Nice. Great. And one final one on this leg. Cool. So let's colour those in again using the splodge colour that we've already established on the Bulbasaur. And this is where the colour palette really does move the drawing into a league of its own, because it really just speeds everything up a little bit. Okay, now we're going to draw the leaves on his back. So this bulb from the first drawing has basically opened up into a bunch of leaves, believe it or not. So we're just going to sort of... I forgot to change my pen to a black colour, as can be seen by these green lines that I'm drawing. So I'm going to have to correct that now and recolour it using the paint bucket tool, which is quite a difficult tool to master. But once you've got the hang of it, it really does speed things up and just sort of add a new layer of polish to your drawings. Okay, so now we can add the actual flower. Now in Ivysaur, the flower is kind of closed up still, so it is sort of a bulb shape again, except unlike the bulb, it is actually flower coloured rather than the colour of grass. So we're just going to have a look at our colours again and take a 3D bulb colour. So this pink probably do quite nicely. So let's just colour... Oh, wow. Look at that. That is beautiful. But I'm just going to make a quick edit. And what we can do is we can just rotate the flower around and make sure that it sticks to the booty rather than the lower back. Wow. There we go. 15 minutes in and we've knocked out 2 Pokemons. This must be a world record. So let's just shuffle them around again. I'm just going to shuffle Bulbasaur first. Put him down here in the corner. And we'll take Ivysaur if we can. Nope, it's all gone horribly wrong. We can't. Yep, now we can. It's all gone horribly right. And now we're going to draw Venusaur, who is basically the ultimate version of Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. So let's get that one in the bag, so to speak. So the first thing we need to do is draw his head. Now, Venusaur has the largest head of the 3 of these Pokemon. So we're just going to draw, look at that, a huge head. And we're just going to loop that around. Boom. Nailed it. Now I'm actually going to move this up a little bit. And it doesn't matter if we overlay over the top of the Ivysaur, because these are all on separate layers. Like ogres. This drawing has layers. Like an onion as well. We're just going to sort of draw quite a chubby body for this Pokemon. Because Venusaur is quite weighty. Now, you'll notice one thing I've done slightly different on this drawing is I've angled the Pokemon a little bit different and I've drawn 3 front legs, which might sound like madness, but when you add this back leg in here, you can tell that I've just added a different perspective to the drawing. Fantastic. So let's colour him in using the 3D Bulbasaur skin colour that we've already established and use the back leg colour also. Now, just like the other Pokemon, he's got 3 nails on each foot. So let's just wham those into the drawing. Wham, wham, and then wham and wham again. Boom. Nailed it. Which is funny because they are nails. Puns. Live puns. That's just how fast I am at talking. So the other thing about Venusaur is he doesn't have any of the splodges, which is a little bit weird. And sometimes I think that the Pokemon artists just forgot to draw them. But who knows? Except them. And they are the ones that have to answer to God for their art misdoings and art crimes against humanity. So more fool them if they made a mistake, is what I say. More fool them. So I'm just adding the teeth in. You want to do more on the top layer than the bottom layer, because obviously the viewer wants to be looking towards the eyes of the Pokemon rather than towards the legs, because that would be a little bit weird. So let's use the inside the mouth colour as well and get that in there. Boom. And what do we need to draw next? Well, good thing you asked. We need to draw the ear triangles that we previously drew on Ivysaur. So boom, and then boom. And now the funny thing is, instead of colouring them using the same colour they used on Ivysaur, they've actually used a pink colour. This colour here. Let's see. That one and that one. Boom. Cool. Now what we need to do is, instead of the green patches, which we established that Venusaur doesn't have, we're just going to draw some wrinkly lines. Like this. And he just has a few of these all over him to sort of show that he's got wrinkly skin, because he's kind of chubbed out and muscled up a little bit. He's kind of been eating protein bars or whatever the Pokemon equivalent is. Kind of, it's probably called protein candy, if you remember the rare candy of the Pokemon worlds. But anyway, back to the drawing. Now we need to add the flower, which has sort of turned into a tree at this stage, which is quite comical, if you ask me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the leaves onto the Venusaur. So on his head, he has one big triangular leaf like that. And then he has a few more sort of on his back like this. Boom. And then we just colour those in using the leaf colour that we've already got. Nailed it. And now we can add the tree itself. So this is a difficult bit. If you're a beginner artist, you probably don't want to attempt this yourself. Maybe if you do want to attempt it, let me know, and I can probably do a tutorial on it one day. But I do have quite a big list of tutorials that you guys have requested, so it might be a while until I can find time to do it. Also, I was thinking, maybe if you guys want to, I could live stream me doing these drawing videos, and then kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. And do the live stream and then upload it as the video as well. So, double winning. Or as Charlie Sheen would say, by winning. So let's add the sort of flowery tree bits to the palm tree-esque flower that is now on Bulbasaur's back. So weirdly, it has sort of square leaves, which to me seems a bit controversial. But who am I to judge? An artist. That's who I am. So we're just going to add these sort of contouring lines onto the leaves, like so. That looks sweet. And then we're going to add the Bart Simpson crown onto the flower. So for that, we're just going to do a circle with some Bart Simpson points on the top. And we're going to colour that in using the yellow Simpson 3D colour. Boom. And there you have it. In just 22 minutes, we've managed to do 3 of the most professional drawings of Pokemon in existence on the internet. Maybe in real life as well. Pretty sure that they are. So just moving them around a little bit so you can see them as good as possible. I think that'll do, really. There you go. So, cool. That is the 3 evolutions of the first Pokemon. Fantastic. Now, this actually feels like a good place to stop. So leave a comment and let me know what you thought to this type of video and whether you'd watch more of them. And if you watched the whole video up to this point, then leave a comment saying smooth jazz, and I'll know that at least somebody watched the whole thing. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. Goodbye.